What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today's video we're going to be discussing Prince of Persia Remake and why the graphics are so bad. If you do like the video, please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. But I want to go ahead today and get into the graphics of Prince of Persia. I was once championing this game and the graphics saying that, oh, it's just an alpha, it's going to look great, blah, blah, blah. Until I came across a couple of interviews and it really has sparked some concern for me. I'm going to be comparing the original Prince of Persia game graphics to the remakes game graphics, and also comparing those two comparisons to other remakes to show what this game could have looked like, or what the standard is for what us gamers have come to expect when it comes to full-blown remakes from the ground up. Now, just for some context, this Prince of Persia game is 17 years old. It was initially released in 2003. It had 170 people work on this remake, and it's been in development for a bit over 2.5 years. Now, the interview that got me a little bit concerned was with game director Pierre Guerres, who stated that they made a specific stylistic choice to differentiate the Prince of Persia from other fantasy games on the market. He said, if you take a game that was made 17 years ago, there's definitely room for improvement in terms of its graphics, and we really wanted to give a unique look to the game because Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time is actually a fantasy story. So we decided to go for a unique visual treatment to make this game stand out from others. It's not another Assassin's Creed, it's not like the same Prince of Persia from 2008. It has to be unique. This magic, this fantasy is shown through the saturation, through the light. So it's also a challenge to redefine the visual identity of the game with this remake. As you can see from this, it seems like Pierre is kind of proud as to how the game looks. As I said at the start of the video, I was kind of campaigning for this, saying, oh, it's just alpha footage, guys, don't worry, it's going to get better. And I really hope it does. The deputy managing director, Syed Abbas, when confronted with, I guess, the notion of, or the question of whether any budget cuts or staff let-offs or whether any restrictions on the time, he came out and said, no, it was not a problem of timeline or budget. For us, Ubisoft quality is the utmost importance, and this is something that we've kept in mind from the start. This project has been in development for the last 2.5 years. We have had a peak of 170 members working on this project, and not to mention other investments and infrastructure, and to set up to make a modern game. No, there have not been any cutbacks in budget or timeline for the game. So, over 2.5 years development, 170 people, no cutbacks, no restrictions, no nothing, and the game looks like this.
Is a marvel no living man has ever seen. Only the dagger can unlock the sands of time. No!
So this is where I want to draw some comparisons to other games that have been released back in the same time of around the early 2000s and have had their remakes where they look so much better, complete remakes. So I'm comparing like for like. The aim of this is to show people that games made back in early 2000s, even the late 1990s, can look amazing in today's standard, where the remakes actually push and elevate the graphics to where it looks like it's a brand new AAA release game. There is no excuse for today that you had almost 3 years of development on the game and it looks like this. There's obviously a reason why people are saying it looks like a PS3, PS2 graphics. Some even say that they would prefer to play the original PS2 game because of how much they dislike the graphics of this new game. So I'm going to be showing you some comparisons. Now, the reason why I'm showing you comparisons is because with other remakes going on and how good remakes can be, that sets the precedence or sets the standard to what particular remakes should look like or what gamers expect remakes to look like. Now, there might be some graphical improvements from now until the initial release, but I can't imagine there would be with only 4 months left in the development cycle. To me, it looks like it was hurried or it was just very lazy or phoned in. And now people on the team are saying it's a visual choice or anything like that they want to differentiate from every other fantasy story. It looks terrible. But let's get into your comparisons. First up is Spyro. Now, the original Spyro the Dragon was released in 1998, 5 years before the original Prince of Persia game. The remake came out on PS4 in 2018, only a couple of years before the Prince of Persia remake. So it's very much a like for like. You can see the graphical improvements for the first release to this are miles apart. The first game was very, very pixely and all sorts of stuff. And in the remake, it looks fantastic. You can see that the fire has changed. You can see that the individual grass blades are actually visible. You can see it singeing. You can see all the enemy types. It just looks a lot better. This is a standard that people have come to expect. Another example is Crash Bandicoot. The original game came out in 1996. The remake came out in 2017. And again, you can see how much of an improvement there was on the graphics. Now you might be saying, Sean, look, these are very cartoony games that you're making comparisons on, so it might be easier to get around the whole graphical aspect. And I can say, okay, but then let's have a look at Shadow of the Colossus. Visually, this game is quite similar to the Prince of Persia games. The original Shadow of the Colossus game was released in 2005, 2 years after the Prince of Persia, so we're only 2 years apart. Visually, they look very, very similar. It then had a complete remake released in 2018 where all the assets were made from the ground up, just like Prince of Persia. But look at the difference. As you can see, the jump in visuals are just incredible from the initial 2005 release to the 2018 release. So with these remakes in mind, and you can see the quality that can be achieved, and by comparison, it leaves people asking what happened to the Prince of Persia franchise. By comparison with these other games, you can see what the potential is, what the expectation is, what has happened in previous games. By comparison, it makes Prince of Persia stand out like a sore thumb. If we have these quality remakes, I've only listed a couple, if we have these quality remakes that we've received in the past a couple of years ago, why can't Prince of Persia be given the same treatment? Especially when there's no budget cuts or no staff will let go, and they had a healthy, almost 3-year development cycle on this game. As snobby as it sounds, we are, I guess, spoiled by choice. Again, we might be spoiled by choice, but with past iterations of remakes, that sets the expectation. If you can't meet those expectations, it makes your game stand out like a sore thumb in a bad way. Now onto our last remake that I'm really impressed with, but doesn't quite fit the shoe here because this remake is from PS3 to PS5, whereas Prince of Persia was PS2 to PS4. But I want to bring it up because it's going to set the new standard to what gamers can come to expect with remakes. I am, of course, talking about Demon Souls. This, as I said before, has again elevated the bar as to what gamers can come to expect when it comes to next-gen remakes. When the Prince of Persia game gets released in January 2021, this PlayStation 5 is already going to be released. People are going to become accustomed to the new graphics, the new any kind of remakes or upscales or HD remakes. That is going to become the new standard. So it's going to make the Prince of Persia game look so bad. So again, a lot of consumers, they see these remakes and then they go, well, if they can do that for this game over here, why couldn't they do a similar thing for Prince of Persia? It leaves people questioning the game in a really bad way. And when people question games in a really bad way, they're more inclined to go, well, you know what? I'll actually wait to see how it looks like when it comes out. I'm going to wait to see what the reviews say. And again, for such a beloved franchise, I just really don't think it's getting the treatment that it really deserves. It's such a shame to see it go from one of the best looking games on the PS2 to one of the worst looking games on the PS4. And for Ubisoft to come out and say it was a stylistic and visual choice, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. So guys, that's going to be the video for today. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Prince of Persia remake down below. I know some footage in the trailer is titled as Alpha. As I said before, it is getting very, very close to the release of the game. It's now September and it's coming out in Jan. So you got about 4 months until its initial release. There might be some visual improvements. I really hope there are. And I hope that what we see is only alpha and it's super, super far away from what we actually get in the final release. And I hope there's a massive, massive improvement on the graphics. But from the comments of the people on the Ubisoft team saying that this was an intentional choice, I don't think that there is really going to be too much of an improvement, which is a shame. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Again, if you like the video, please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have a differing opinion. Leave it all in the comments down below and we'll have a chat about it. Again, all my social media is down in the description below. If you want to join my Discord to talk about more games, it's down there. Same if you want to join my Twitch. All that is down in the description below. Come hang out live. We can discuss games or whatever. But that's the video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.